Today we're going to be installing a center differential lock switch, factory OEM Toyota center diff lock switch on our 1997 Lexus LX450, aka Toyota Land Cruiser, FJ80, FZJ80, people call them different things, 80 series, etc. The actual part number of the Toyota part we're going to be utilizing here is this one here. It's a factory switch you can add to these trucks. Didn't come in the US, but did overseas. You can add them to the US trucks as well. It is part number 84725600040. Don't try to use some other switch like the previous owner of this truck did. I'll show you here how we're going to take that out and replace it with the correct one. Use the correct one, plugs right in, not that expensive. Very easy mod, and it'll allow you to turn on the center differential locker while still in four-wheel drive high gear versus 4 low. That automatically throws the differential lock switch on. So let's get going. I'll show you how the process works. First thing we're going to do is pop this plastic surround, the housing, off. Don't use a metal flathead. I mean, if that's all you have, you can use it, but grab yourself some plastic pry tools like this one here, this one here. You can get them in a variety of different shapes, sizes, thicknesses. I just grabbed two. I'm going to start with the thin one here and then use the angled pry tool to get around the corners and pry it up. That way you're not damaging any of the plastic or the leather. So I'm going to get started on this corner, go around the edge, then here around this edge, and pop that housing off, and then we'll see what's behind it. The factory setup of switches on this particular truck, you can see along the top, you've got your security light, your hazard lights, your rear defrost, and then your antenna up and down. The previous owner looks like he tried to install another rear defrost button, and I think what he probably did was attempt to use that as a center diff lock switch. We're going to pull it out and see what he has it connected to on the back end, because right now it does absolutely nothing. You push it, the light doesn't come on. I'm guessing, like some other folks I've seen over the years, he probably attempted to use that as a center diff lock switch. We're going to remove that and put the correct one in, the correct OEM Toyota center diff lock switch. So let's get started. First thing you want to do is take your ashtray out, and there are 2 Phillips screws, one right here and one right there. Undo those Phillips screws, take them out gently, make sure they don't fall in back there, and put them aside. We've got those 2 Phillips screws out. Next, if you have this cup holder, this is a JDM style cup holder for these trucks some people install. If you have it, pull it out. If you don't, you're going to have a little bezel there. You'll need to pop that out. You want to get this Phillips screw and this Phillips screw. Get those 2 out. Now that those 2 are out, you should be able to, yep, there we go, take your cup holder assembly out. We're going to place it down here for safekeeping. Next, you should be at the point where you can put your pry tool behind there, go around the edge, and just gently pry until you've got any sort of clips and things that are holding it in place. Pop out. You've got it out enough to grab the edges by hand, and voila, there we go, the whole thing's loose. Next thing you want to do, if it's not already applied, apply your parking brake, grab your key, just put it in the on position so you can put the vehicle in gear. Bring your shifter all the way down so it's out of the way of this guy, and you can turn your key back off for now. What I'm going to do to give myself some room is I'm going to disconnect these top 3. That is for the antenna up down, the rear defrost, and the hazard lights. So I'm going to disconnect those 3. That way I can tilt this thing forward. Now take your hand back here. You'll see this one connector wrapped in foam attached to the harness. Pull it away from the harness. You'll end up ripping this little piece of tape here. No problem. We're going to throw that away. And check to make sure it's the right one. It's got 2 jumpers there. or one wire into 2 pins as a jumper that's connected. So this is the one we're going to want to use. And just to peek back here to see what the previous owner did, this plug down here, let me see, this one, that is the rear defrost switch that he had located at the bottom that didn't do anything, and it was literally plugged into nothing. I'm not even sure why he put that in there. Maybe his plan was to eventually set it up as a diff lock switch, or maybe he was just trying to fill a blank. I honestly don't know, but we're going to pull that out because it serves no purpose, and we're going to install this stuff correctly. By the way, I apologize for the beeping. I can't turn the key because the shift lever is all the way down here, and I can't do anything with that. You know, let me see if I can close the door. There we go. No more beeping. So next thing we want to do, this is just a connector on the end of this terminal. And if you notice, there's the typical clip right here that you can press. And if we press that, should be able to, let me see if I can do this one-handed. There we go. Pull the connector with the little jumper cable off, and then we're left with the actual connector itself. And if everything looks correct, this should plug in directly into the back of an OEM center diff lock switch, which is this guy. This is the new one that we just pulled out of the packaging. That's the connector on the back. And let's see, just to go ahead and test fit it. That's it. And that will literally work without any other modifications. So this will enable you to turn your diff lock, center diff lock, on when you're in 4 high, just drive it around normally, and you don't necessarily want to be in low gear on your transfer case, you just want the center diff lock on. I'm going to go ahead and unplug this, and if this looks anything like previous 80 series I've had, we're going to need to put this in the top row of switches up here and relocate one of these to the bottom, which is no big deal. The other ones have enough length. Now we've got everything plugged in. I've got my diff lock switch up here, connector plugged in, all these other connectors plugged in. I moved the rear defrost button. I got a little bit of dirt there. Got the rear defrost button relocated down here and plugged in down there as well. Now we want to carefully maneuver all of this back into place. Make sure you don't snag any wires. And gently go around the edge. Clip everything back into place. You'll hear a few small clicks. There's only a couple of clips that hold all of that. Make sure everything's situated, none of the buttons are popped out or anything like that, and that it all fits correctly. And now we'll go through, put the cup holder and the 2 screws back in, then the 2 screws around the ashtray, and then put the ashtray back in. Ashtray is back in, 2 screws are back in. We'll the cup holder. The 2 screws around the ashtray are back in. We'll put the ashtray itself back. That's all good. I'll wipe that down. Some fingerprints everywhere. And that's it. Now we've got our center diff lock switch here. Relocated our rear defrost there. And everything looks factory and is using factory parts. And we're going to go through the cul-de-sac here, test out the center diff lock switch real quickly, make sure everything functions, make sure our other buttons all function, all the connectors are in place, and then call it a day. I apologize, it's nighttime and it's dark, but I'll do my best to show you guys how everything functions and works. So first thing we're going to do is just test all of the other buttons other than the diff lock switch, make sure everything works. My hazard lights, antenna up and down, that works as well. We're gonna check our rear defrost. Yep, that works. And our heater button for the rear. High, low, those both work. Okay, so everything went back working the way it should. We are in 4 high right now and in drive. And we're gonna hit the center diff lock button. And as you can see, the diff lock turned on, ABS turned off very quickly. This transfer case and everything, and the transmission looks like it's been well maintained, and everything comes on really quickly as far as the differential lock goes. All right, I don't want to take too tight of a turn. The center diff on pavement. Go in reverse, give ourselves a little bit of space, and then we'll turn off the diff lock switch. That's off. And just as quickly, the center diff lock is off and ABS is back on. Easy as that. Now you've got a instantly lockable center differential while still in 4 high. And in a lot of cases where you don't need 4 low, it is really nice to have a lockable center diff while still in 4 high on your transfer case. Let's do this one more time just for kicks. Center diff lock on. Boom, that's quick. And I'm gonna take a nice wide turn here into the driveway. And let's turn the center diff lock off. That is back off just as quickly. Hope you enjoyed the video and this was useful for you. If you're going through the same types of modifications on your 80 series Land Cruiser, this is generally the same on 93 through 97 Toyota Land Cruiser or Lexus LX450. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe. Love you guys. See you next time.